Okay, so this one's kind of unplanned, but I did have it in the back of my mind, and mentioning that I had some video topics in the back of my mind made me realize that this is why not just do this fucking thing now. So, you know, there's a rising trend to see, you know, big horsepower numbers from stock blocks, right? So, talk about the reason why. And also another trickle-down effect that also could be lending, just a theory of mine. I'm not saying it's proven, but, you know, just a theory of mine, that I think that these cheap turbos, or the proliferation of cheap turbos, is actually what's causing you're seeing the rise of these numbers from these engine builds, right? I think that we got a couple of guys that made big power on a stock block, and then we have, you know, as the trickle-down cost for turbos comes down from the thousands of dollars down to the hundreds of dollars, because eBay is just, you know, China is just flooding eBay with, you know, $130, $200 turbos. I think that you're seeing people more willing to take a risk. You know, if it's a stock block that doesn't really cost that much because K-series aren't expensive anymore, and then the turbos is like $120, you know, $200. Why not just throw it in there and see what happens? If it blows up, you just, you know, spend a couple $100s to replace everything. I want to say that I think that the Chinese turbo market is actually why a big part in why we're seeing these engine builds go like they have, because of the fact that, you know, like I said, cheap turbos, and it's just cheap parts in general. People don't really care if something blows up. Now, as far as the pros and cons of this situation right now, are we seeing more horsepower on these stock blocks? Right, yeah, but I think a large part of the reason why we're seeing this is because people are using larger turbos. The bigger turbos, boost comes in a little later. It's a little less stress on the rods, right? You're not getting the instant boost delivery right away, which is why I think that a big part of the reason why we were seeing these 10th gen SIs fail so quickly. And in the early days, I know fuel played a big part into it, but we saw K20Cs blowing up at numbers that you wouldn't expect a K20C to blow up. And I think also that's part of play is the fact that you're getting power delivery super quick, and those rod bolts just weren't holding up to it, or the rods in general, because it's in case of the tension, because they were just snapping and disintegrating. So now the trade-off is with these bigger turbos, you know, the power delivery is that if you misshift or make a mistake, bye-bye. Like there was a guy down here in South Florida. I don't even know who it was, but I know that it was being shared all over the place. You know, somebody made a meme out of it with the Trump meme. It was like, and we say bye-bye or some shit, right? The guy was driving and he misshifted. He went, I think he did third to second or some shit like that. And, you know, right away, the engine was blown the fuck up. So, you know, people like to say about, you know, making a safe build, building safely. In this case and scenario, this is one of those things where if you want to stay safe, it's good to go with rods. You know, even if the horsepower number is doable, because of the fact that if you misshift, it's less forgiving. A mistake is less forgiving on stock parts. Now, if you have aftermarket parts, you can misshift and it's not necessarily game over right away. I know this from experience. I misshifted a bunch of times. And I thought, oh my God, something's going to happen. And I was fine. You know, no drop valves, no fucking spun bearings. You know, you can have that wiggle room for safety if you have, you know, upgraded parts. Now, if you're running on stock rods and you misshift like that when you're making 500-600 horsepower on it, there's a good chance that you just lost your block. So that's just some food for thought. And, oh God, I had one more thing I wanted to talk about. One more thing. And I know if I cut this video off, I'm going to fucking remember and I'm going to kick myself in the ass. But, so what was it? What was it? I can't remember. But yeah, so just to touch on it again, I think that the fact that we see a lot of cheaper turbos on the market gives people a lot more comfort, you know, to feel like they can, you know, play with the ideas of sending something to the moon and blowing something up because it doesn't really matter too much. And the fact that, you know, the trade-off being that if you're going to go with a stock rod with the setup is that you could, you know, potentially lose it. And yes, I do remember now. The last thing it is also the compression that you're helping with, right? We are seeing a lot higher compression when you're tuning with turbo blocks. People used to drop the fuck out of their compression down to 9.5, 8.8 to 1, and now we see that 10.1 to 1 or 10.01 or 10.5 to 1 is like the sweet spot to go to for building a turbo engine. And of course, we're seeing that with these stock blocks, that more of these, some of these K-series and shit have much higher compression out the box. So like 1101 compression for, you know, a short block. So I think that, that even though these turbos are bigger, they don't take forever necessarily to spool, because you got the help from the extra compression. So I don't think that lag is as much of an issue as it used to be back in the day as well. Now, of course, you know, that could still play into an issue depending on how much power you're pushing overall. So definitely still choose a turbo that equates to the power that you want to make. But I still think that you know, like a GT35 is still a decently big turbo compared to a lot of the smaller turbos I used to see back in the day when people were selling shit secondhand. So, you know, higher compression and stuff, and you know, bigger turbo. I think these are all things that lend to keeping your block alive on stock rods. So, all right, guys. Yeah, that's it. That's all I want to talk about. Shit. Hopefully you're making it to the end of the video. If you are making it to the end of the video, do me a favor and drop your shirt size in the comments below. Of course, I'm not, even if you're not interested in buying a VHP engine shirt, you know, a VHP engine shirt, I just want to see like if I can get an average on the shirt sizes of people who are watching. So that way, like if I go to buy a batch to add to my shelf, just to have a shirt batch on myself, and then like I advertise the shirts on the website, just to give me an idea of what the sizes are. I'm thinking it's probably going to be extra large. I think extra large is most likely the safe range. I think this shirt I'm wearing is an extra large. I'm still considerably fat. Although I'm better than I was. You know, now we've been back in the gym for 6 months now, so I'm working on myself. Although right now my main focus is strength, and then the weight cut's gonna come soon. Hopefully the last half of the year, the last quarter of the year, I'll be back to focus on weight cutting. Anyway, off topic. Yes, if you just drop your shirt size down below, guys. I'd like to have an idea. Like I said, I think it's extra large, but I want to see for sure, and then I'm gonna probably buy a batch. Now it won't probably be 100%. You know, of that, but I want to kind of get an idea, because like I said, the batches come in batches of 12 at a minimum. So I figure I want to get like half of what I would imagine be a common size, and then like a couple mediums, a couple 2Xs and stuff like that. So, all right, guys, so thanks for watching, and peace. Thanks for watching.